Alright, that's good. Yeah. Alright, it got real quiet, so most people looking at their watches and understanding it is 6 o'clock. So at this time, I will formally call our June 28th meeting to order. We'd like to welcome everyone. We do have one part of our ceremony that I wish we weren't having to do, and that has to do with our retirees. We will give you all the opportunity to reconsider tonight and tonight only before you leave, if you choose to do that. Other than that, I'm just being a little silly. I told Renee to keep me on track, so if I wander off, she's going to bring me back and keep me focused out. So at this time, we do move into our moment of silence, so I would ask everyone please stand. And we normally turn to our Vice Chair, Tommy Cabe, but tonight we're turning to Missy Evans, our representative from Nantahala. Missy, if you would, please.
Well, I know Tommy always mentions our servicemen and women all over the world, and remembering those and appreciating the freedoms that we have because of what they're doing. And of course, firefighters, police officers, and rescue workers, I have those in my own family, and they're very near and dear to me. So if we'll bow our heads, we'll have a moment of silence.
If everyone would please, we have a flag here. I'd like to invite you to join me with a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Everyone please be seated. First on our agenda, our schedule is our approval of minutes. These are the minutes from our regular scheduled meeting on May 24th. All the board members had a chance to review those. Are there any questions, changes, deletions? Hearing none, I have a motion to accept. Missy, do I hear a second?
Second.
A motion second. All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Next is the adoption of our agenda. I will let Renee may be aware of, board members, you would, on buildings and grounds. We do need to add, Todd will be discussing with us, Earth Environmental Services, the contract with them. That is up for renewal, I understand.
Yes, sir.
Angie, she mentioned, was there a fund redistribution that you needed to add on, or will you just work those in? Are they under one of the categories?
There's one for East Franklin.
East Franklin.
Yes, there's two others already on there.
Got two, but this also add for East Franklin? Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, for the reasons for the closed session, we also need to add GS 143-318.1185 concerning acquisition of real property.
On closed session?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. And you will state that when we get there?
I will, yes, sir.
Okay. Any other changes, modifications for our agenda? Hearing none, I entertain a motion that we approve the agenda with those changes. Have a movement by Carol. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion to second. All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Next, I'm going to turn our program over to Dr. Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you mentioned, Mr. Chairman, this is a bittersweet moment. Ms. Albee, as she came in the door, used that term, and I certainly agree with her on that. And you know, when you work with folks, in many cases, some of the retirees tonight, for decades, you develop relationships, strong personal relationships, professional relationships. We're going to miss seeing these folks every single day. Hopefully they'll come back and work as substitutes with us and our students. But we have strong professional and personal relationships with these educators, and I want to use the term educator to cover bus drivers, custodians, teachers, bookkeepers, everyone. Everyone involved in the school system is an educator working with children. And we're going to miss that knowledge, that expertise. These folks understand that education is an art and a science. It's about building relationships with people, with students, with families. That's something that you only learn through practice. And we're losing a lot of that expertise with the retirees of tonight. And 41 is a huge impact on our school system. In a normal year, we're looking at around 10. So 41 is going to be very difficult for us to replace. These folks have had a tremendous impact on individual students throughout their time in Macon County schools. They've had a tremendous impact on our community over that period of time. And we hope that they'll continue working with the schools and with the community moving forward. But it's bittersweet. We know that we're going to miss these folks on a personal level. We know that we're going to miss their knowledge, but we're also extremely happy for them. They have earned their retirement through hard work and sacrifice. And we're grateful to have known them and grateful that they have been in our school system. Now I'm going to go through the names. I started sorting through the certificates as I saw people coming through the door, and then, you know, I'm going to have to recognize everyone anyway, so bear with me. First recognition is for Joan Estes, Diane McMahon, Michelle Maslin, Linda Waldrew, Paula Guy. Yes, please. And I think that we'll have enough room if everyone just wants to stand up here. We'll take a picture of everyone together.
Yeah, probably everybody gets to look at it.
I could be the first one.
Naomi Albee. Scott Maslin. Kathy Peak. Barry Woody. Diane Taylor. Clara Deals. You know, I had the opportunity to visit the last faculty meeting of the year for most of our schools, and the words that were shared for all of these folks at those retirement faculty meetings was, it was remarkable, it was profound. So we're going to really miss these folks. Miss Dills was talked about quite a bit. She's quite a mentor at South Macon. Margaret Butler, Sharon Shatley, Laura Wooten. Mr. Maslin had a lot to say about Miss Wooten.
Yeah.
Peggy Watson, Kathy Ledford, Michael Tyson, Dave Cashin, $41 years.
41 total, 39 here. And have all 10 fingers left.
Susan Allen, Joan Yokel, Michael Waters. Let's see Miss Yokel back there.
Excuse me.
Let's move over. Just put too much space. There's a gap.
Michael Waters, Larry Green, Patricia Isaac, Clay Peak, Kenny Ammons, Jean Hanson, Marie Parrish, Jackie Breedlove, Mark Guy, Teresa Welch, Arlene Fay,
You might have to step outside for this group shot.
may have to. Loretta Kastner, Tammy Harold, Susan Steiner, Ginger England. Sue Carrion. Cynthia Henderson. Come over here for a second. Dewey Elliott. And Nancy Cantrell. Did we get everyone? Everyone smile.
Now y'all need to look a little happy.
On behalf of the Macon County School System, we'd like to thank each one of you for your years of service and wish you the very best in a long retirement.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations, Miss Deals. Good job.
Miss Albee. Miss Albee. I'll miss you.
Air hugs to everybody.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like my elbow over here. Congratulations. Thank you. We miss you. I'll be back to visit.
Good. You better.
Remember his family came out.
Yes, Brother John.
We probably need to go to excuse
Thank you for being here.
Linda's going to call you.
Okay.
She's already got 4 or 5 on the
Perfect.
But I that wrong addresses, so.
Okay.
Ought to be renegotiated with pretty good.
Yes. Get it. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Well, as we said, that was a bittersweet moment. Thank you, Dr. Baldwin, for the comments you made concerning those kind of important, those very valuable people who we're going to miss every one of them. So, Renee just reminded me I was remiss, John. We're supposed to excuse our missing board member. So at this time, due to this, he's on vacation, so I went into the motion we excuse Mr. Cabe from the meeting tonight.
So moved.
Motion excused. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, send by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Thank you, Renee.
You're welcome.
Always. Next on the agenda is public comment. I know Mr. Shields put the list out. I don't think I saw anyone's name on there.
David.
Yeah, Bobby, would you, is it on the, okay. No one, okay. Is there anyone here that'd like to address the board? Don't say we have any takers, so here none, we will,
You're doing a good job.
we will,
Thanks, Jay.
we will declare public comment at a close. Next, under informational items, there are 3 overnight out-of-district trip requests. Pretty straightforward. Just my curiosity, and Tommy asked this today, Dr. Baldwin, you know, on our trip where the Ardicott is going to, I think, Tennessee, are they required to wear a mask over there? Do you know what the current mandates are in
All
Tennessee?
this, this is in October.
Right.
And these will
We
be
have no way of
contingent
knowing.
upon.
Yeah, I just wondered right now, I wondered if you know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We don't know at this
That's all
point.
the point, exactly. Any questions on those requests? Awesome.
I would add that I was on a webinar with ABC Consortium last week, and there's every indication that by September, the vaccine will be available to children age 5 and up.
Okay.
So that will have an impact on executive orders and
All
requirements.
that good stuff, exactly. I hear no questions, entertain a motion concerning the request.
Make motion to approve.
Motion approved, do I hear a second? The motion is second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Next are our fundraising requests. What I would entertain, if the board's fine, we'll just go through and entertain all, I think there's 5 of them. Let's entertain all those in bulk. I think Tim's going to be showing those. The first, of course, was just, and Mr. Woody, of course, is not here, was from our varsity cheerleading dance.
Dance team, it is a car wash.
Oh, yeah, it's a car wash. It's posted by the dance team and the cheerleading team. Thank you, and clarify that, Dr. Baldwin. Huh. Okay. Questions? Next one, Tim. This, of course, I think is the one that did the repeat they do every year, Dr. Baldwin. Is that not?
Yes,
Isn't that
sir.
right? I think it's the sale of the coupon booklets.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Next, Tim, we had one for FBLA.
Several for FBLA.
Is there more than one? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I saw the one.
They're all grouped together.
Okay.
It's for the year.
Okay. So if you would, Tim, let's show, Renee just informed me I missed them when I saw the first one. These apparently all, they're giving us ahead of time. So if anyone has any questions, we'll go through, raise your hand. Again, I think she does. Haven't they done these also, Dr. Baldwin, pretty much every year?
Yes,
These
sir.
same ones. It'll be a busy group. All right, that was it. Thank you. Thank you, Tim. No one raised hands, so I assume there are any questions on those. Next, Tim, is the Highland School, Mr. Jay. And did you have a description about what the fundraiser was? I think attached there, Tim.
Next page.
Yes, next page. Again, I think this is a repeat they've done in the past. Wasn't there another one? Or am I getting things confused? I thought there was another one
For Highlands.
for Highlands. Is that it? Okay. And then Olive Valley. And I think on this one, of course, Shelley put several, as she does, several of the ones for the year. And there's a listing there of those. And these are all repeats
We may
of
not have any,
Right.
all of them.
Or
This
not.
is just,
approval.
we have a
as you
new
go.
PTO coming in this year and just wanted to kind of lay the groundwork for them and let
Okay.
them choose.
Very good. Assuming that they do go, any questions by the board members? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
A motion that we approve the fundraising request as submitted. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Cybersecurity. Tim.
We're just going to talk just a little bit about kind of what's going on across the state with a lot of the schools. I'm sure you've heard of some ransomware attacks that's taken place in the past in several school
Especially tried to
districts.
buy gasoline a few weeks ago.
So we've had several school districts in the state that have been hit by ransomware attacks and other cyber crime type things. What we're doing in Macon County, we've had, I feel we're in pretty good shape here as far as cybersecurity goes. We put several protocols into place. We had MCNC, which is our state networking group, come in and do a cybersecurity analysis earlier last year. They had a lot of different suggestions and things that we put into place, policies that we put into place within the network. Some of those things, make people a little bit upset, like making them change their password every 3 months and not allowing them to install applications on their laptop without, an administrator password, things like that. But all those things are needed in the environment that we're in right now. Any email could contain a link to a ransomware attack or whatever. So one of the things the state has done is put into place a learning management system for teachers for professional development. We're going to be implementing that in August. We just started loading that in, and it's called Know Before. I can kind of show you. It has training videos and training games and training modules for teachers and our staff. Everyone's going to be able to log into this and complete those modules. The biggest thing I can put, we've got firewall antivirus, we've got firewall intrusion prevention measures in the firewall. We've got spam filters, and we spend probably $20,000 to $30,000 a year just on those measures in the firewall. But probably one of the most important things is getting our staff trained on things like phishing attacks, things of that nature, social engineering attacks, and this kind of informs our staff on what to look out for, how to look at an email and see if it may be suspicious, look at the headers on the email, look at where the email's from, look at how to look at the links on the email so they're not clicking on something that could load malware onto the laptops. So we're going to be putting that into place. Like I said, we've got intrusion prevention software that we have in place already. You can see just in our firewall how many in the past 7 days, how many attempts, how many blocked connections that were high security blocked sessions or applications that people tried to run or links people clicked on that have been blocked by the firewall. You can see all these different proxy and phishing websites and links that people have clicked on, like this one, phishing attempt, 660 different attempts of that. So this is just in the past 7 days, so it shows you how prolific these things are. And if we did not have these intrusion prevention filters and the virus protection in the firewall, I think we'd probably be much cooked by now. But I feel pretty good about where we are. Again, I think the best thing that we can do is get our staff trained on understanding what the threats are and what to look for, and that's what we're going to attempt to do this coming year. We've got 1 year's subscription to this that is free from the state. And we'll implement that and try to get everybody, as many people trained as we can on this. Do y'all have any questions for me about cybersecurity or any of the things that you've heard about the ransomware attacks or anything like that?
I just have a question about with the influx of one-to-one devices for all the students due to COVID, what the expenses on security, what that looks like in the budget, how much has that gone up this year, and do we anticipate that going up quite a bit more, and is the state helping with that, or is it kind of lumped into our funds?
It's kind of lumped all into our software funds. Like I said, we spend probably about $30,000, if I had to guess right now, about $30,000 a year just on the intrusion prevention and antivirus software, just for the firewall and the spam filter.
Then also backed up records, correct?
Yeah, and that's another thing that we're getting ready to implement. We're getting ready to implement Carbon Black, which is, we have a virtualized server environment in Macon County, so all of our servers are virtualized. These ransomware attacks not only hit the desktop machines, but they also hit the server and network infrastructure and can encrypt all the servers. So this will give us a leg up on how we store our backups and being able to restore the system if we were to get hit by ransomware.
Why don't you talk about what ransomware is exactly? Because
Okay, so in simple terms, someone could get an email that tricks them into clicking on a link. That link could install encryption software on the machine that will encrypt all the files on the machine. It can spread throughout the network very quickly. So one person can click on this link, and within seconds it can encrypt their whole system. That's not recoverable. They'll get a message on the machine that says, you can pay the ransom to unencrypt your files. You can pay through Bitcoin or some form of payment like that. So it's pretty well hidden. That's basically what ransomware is. Now, MCNC does not recommend negotiating with the ransomware terrorists. They do not recommend paying, because that's only furthering, if you get hit once, you're probably going to get hit again because they know you're going to pay. So the strategy there is to make sure we have backups in place, to make sure we have all the intrusion prevention software up front to catch these. A lot of these variants are well known. The signatures can be detected by the firewall or the spam filter, and it catches a lot of it. But there's always new variants out there and new ransomware attack scenarios that come up. So that's basically what a ransomware is, and it can spread very quickly throughout the network. I believe Haywood County was hit, shut their network down for a week. I'm not sure if they negotiated and paid the ransom or not. They did not pay the ransom, but they restored their.
They had a backup for their records, and rather than paying a ransom to get the information back from the hackers, they invested in LifeLock, and then just protected the individual's information, so that the hackers couldn't use it maliciously.
And we're always, looking at tool. Of course, we've been bombarded all the time by companies that are selling tools to prevent or help recover. But we've looked very closely at some of the ones, and I think I have a good idea where we need to go with our environment, and we'll be doing some of that. But as far as answering your question about the student devices, I think the iPads are one of the most secure devices that we have, because we have those all connected to our MDM, our mobile device management system. So students cannot install software that's not approved by us. They can't, it won't install some kind of ransomware on their iPad if they click on the link that they're not supposed to. So, you know, that's kind of where we are. It doesn't really cost more because we have more student devices. A lot of this stuff is front end and back end, making sure that we're secure and we're able to recover. We do have a disaster, sorry to keep going on, but we do have a disaster recovery side at Iowa Valley. So our complete server system that we have downstairs here in the IT department, we have a replica out at Iowa Valley. So if anything happens to this, we can quickly recover from those backups and everything there. We're also going to be doing cloud backups, and that's what some of the carbon black is stuff is. We can do cloud backups of our server environment, and those are stored off-site, not on our premises or within our network. So I feel pretty good about it, but with all the stuff we put into place, again, I cannot control what people put on their emails.
Well, if it can happen to the Colonial Pipeline, if it can happen to the meat packing, I think it's JSB meat packing, I mean, the potential for that to happen to any institution is there.
And you really don't need to be a high-value, high-profile target. I've been surprised among some of our clients that are not big districts, and yet they run into this kind of problem. And I know and wish that they had been as prepared, doing the best you can to be prepared for this. Another thing you do, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but haven't we added the insurance rider that does cyber protection and adds some insurance protection too for all of the, there's quite a bit of expense involved in some of the things you have to do to recover. And so that, if it, hopefully never need it, but if you ever did, I think we're doing as well as we can to cover that into it too.
Yeah, as far as recovery goes, we do have the resources, full resources of MC, NC. If this happens, the state network guys, we do have, you know, Tyler Creek, one of our vendors, has done this before repeatedly. They've had school systems that have been hacked or have gotten ransomware attacks, so they're familiar with the process.
I mean, it's obvious that they are attempting.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, you just look at this. Most of these phishing attacks.
It's I think ransomware and malware attacks are up 400%. The media reported that today since the pandemic began.
It's a big issue. It's a big responsibility. But I feel good about where we are, and I'll feel much better once we start getting our staff trained. I think that's a big piece. That's probably, if I were to say, it's probably 70% of fixing the issue is making sure people are aware. So my mother-in-law got a social engineering attack this weekend. It looked like it was from Amazon. She called back and, you know, pretended to be her credit card company. It's just amazing what the lengths they go through to get information.
I talked to Dr. Nolte at length about Haywood County's attack, and you know, read a lot about other school systems who have been attacked. Like Tim, I feel pretty good where we are, but they're not going to stop trying.
Especially people pay, and that's what we're hoping not to have to do. If we're prepared up front and we have our backups and we have our system restored and processes in place, I think we'll be in better shape.
Good. Thank you, Tim. Very reassuring. We had faith in you anyway. Like you said, tell us that. I think it's a good deal. It's kind of hard to believe we're having to sit here and we're in the business of education. We're having to sit here and discuss this stuff.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. John, Board Policy 2310, public participation at board meetings.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. This policy comes by way of suggestion from my firm that you add the language, and Tim, if you scroll down to the second page under public comment, in the red there, just as sort of a reminder to everybody. I mean, this has been your policy and generally would be your guidance to folks that are coming to you with matters of concern, that if they are personnel or student matter related, they really are confidential and not something the board can deal with in public session at all anyway, and so they're really not appropriate to be commented on in public. We say they should be handled as matters of complaint and through the superintendent or designee. You've got a policy on responding to complaints already. So that's the purpose of this edition. You'll notice it does not absolutely prohibit somebody bringing something up. You can't, there are First Amendment concerns with you exercising prior restraint on the kind of thing somebody stands up and says. So there are limits to what we can control and what somebody says or doesn't say. But it is, generally the guidance that we give, and we find that by and large, if people have legitimate concerns and things that they're worried about, they're willing to sort of bring those to you in closed session if it has to come to the board, or really how it ought to go is through your administration first and up to the board if necessary and appropriate. So that's the purpose of this additional language that we just it's never been explicitly stated anywhere in your policy or in the school board model policy. It's my suggestion you just take this as a first reading. There's nothing all that urgent about it, because again, that would be the guidance and the direction we would try to give any comments that came your way that weren't appropriate. So I'll bring this back to you unless you have a strong inclination to go ahead and approve it. The other thing I will point out, and I don't know, we didn't catch this, and Tim can scroll right up under B there. The model policy says each month the first part of at least one regular scheduled meeting. I've always said each month a part of a regularly scheduled meeting will be set aside, just so you have the flexibility. If you needed to, you move to the end. I mean, I don't know that the policy language saying the first part necessarily hamstrings you to that, but I have always advised that you just say, as required by law, we'll have at least one section of a regular meeting as public comment. So unless there's strong feeling otherwise, I'll bring this back to you with that language preserved that says at least some part, not necessarily a first part of the meeting will be for public comment. Happy to entertain any questions about this, but again, I'll just bring it back to you for final approval next month. And while we're on the topic of policies, we've got quite a bit of catch-up work to do. And I apologize, and I will be very mindful of your time. I don't want to give you too much beach reading. To be sitting there with, an umbrella drink and 500 pages of policies to read on the beach this summer. So we do have some catch-up to do, and I'll get it to you in discrete chunks that I don't think would be too painful to review.
So as Dr. Gordon said, so instead of 500, we're going to have 400. Is that what you're trying to hit?
450 at the very
At most. Thank you so much, John, for your consideration. We appreciate that. The show, I should have known this, but the previous policy did have about where you could not designate or give your time to the other speaker. Was that part of our previous policy?
I think it is.
I couldn't remember. I'm just glad if it was, and I'm glad to see that's in there. So
Yes.
I mean, it's fine. You thought it was. I just didn't remember if it was or not.
Yeah.
No problem. All right, so you'll bring that back. Board members read it over. Be prepared. John, any questions? Any other comments on it, John?
No, sir.
If not, then we'll plan on voting on it at our next meeting. So,
Yes.
good deal. Highland School cheer camp. I think this is what I was thinking about.
That's probably
That's what I wrote. Thank you. I'm not totally wacko. Here's just an item for fundraising request for Highland Schools. No, I'm sorry, a policy. It's up for a camp. Renee, you're losing her. Approval
We knew what you meant.
A cheer camp up at Hollins this summer. So unless anybody has any questions, hearing none, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a motion to approve the request. Or hear a second.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Highland School Handbook. Again, Mr. Judge, I'm assuming I didn't see, it didn't look like you really changed anything. Oh, Sarah's here, sorry. I was right up top of you, sweetheart, sorry.
Here.
All right. Just usually we have those, I always ask, just point out changes that are being made.
No changes.
I didn't see anything, it's pretty much
Yep, 2021, 2022.
That's it, okay. Anyone have any questions, since I tried to ignore Pastor? Anyone have any questions of Sarah? Hearing none, I entertain a motion.
So moved.
A motion to approve the handbook. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Olive Valley Elementary School Camp, Wolfpack. You didn't have an attachment on that, Shelley. This is something we do every year, isn't it?
It is, we had to skip last year because of COVID,
COVID.
but this is just for our rising fourth graders, gives them a chance to come in a little bit before school and do some different activities since they'll be the leaders of our school for the
Right.
year.
Okay. You went, like I said, it's done in the back. Any questions of Ms. Bell? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
A motion we approve the request, or hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Handbook, Ms. Bell.
The only changes are the years, 2021, 2022. Everything else is the same.
No other changes?
No other
Okay.
changes.
And in your staff handbook, that's the same?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So if I run it right, we'll approve both. Shall I said there's all they did was make changes on the dates. Any other questions of Ms. Bell? Hearing none, I entertain a motion. We approve then the student handbook and the staff handbook.
So moved.
Have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Just for Kids, physical therapy contract. Dr. Baldwin, or did I skip something?
No.
John looked at me like I skipped over something there.
You're fine. The only thing, Mr. Chairman, I just noticed that I have no problem with the contract or the contract, other than there are some provisions that aren't in this that probably should be in there and can be handled with an addendum that we do. So I would just, I don't have any problem with the board moving ahead with approval. I just do it subject to satisfactory legal review, as you often do.
Any questions? Further questions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve with the added addendum for Mr. Haney.
Very good. And a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Western Employee Assistance Program. Mr. Gibbs.
Yes, sir. This is from Gary Wright, who is our counselor for employee issues. If employees have issues that they would like to talk to a counselor, they're able to go to this due to this contract. Or if we have employees who are facing issues that we think this service would help, we can mandate that to happen. Mr. Wright, this is our third or fourth year entering into a contract with Mr. Wright. He's very effective too, from what I hear.
Anyone have any questions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
A motion we approve our contract with the assistance program. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, someone saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. WNC driving school contract. Mr.
Yes, sir.
Gibbs.
This is the same contract as we had last year, just with the dates changed. It's the contract with Brian Terrell, who's a owner of Western North Carolina Driving School for driver's ed, contracting with Macon County, providing classroom instruction and behind the wheel training.
Just remember, he's been doing this, Mr. Trevor been doing it now for 4 or 5
4 years, I think,
Yeah.
4, 5, maybe 5, 4.
I don't think it's quite that long. And there is just one brief heads up for the board. This is an odd thing for a service contract, which this is. And again, I know this contract, I have no problem with you approving it right now. There is, most service contracts, you don't have any bidding requirement. That's not usually the thing you have to do for service at all. For driving instruction services, it is. And it had something to do with a row between a driving services instructor and a General Assembly member. It was one of those kind of things. So I think after this contract, you will have to go back out to bid for it. Now, that doesn't mean there are other service providers in the area, and if there is only one, you'll be back to Mr. Carroll. I expect that'll be the case, but.
So we're good for this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'll let Mr. Terrell know of those future.
Coming up.
Yeah, I'm sure he's aware of it.
He's probably aware of it. So.
But, you know, just, they really can't underbid him.
And I don't know of anybody who tried when we did this before, so
No,
it's very unlikely to change.
That's what he operates off of, so how are you going to unbid that?
Right.
Give us money back?
You'd be interested here?
Entertain that, I'm sure.
Entertain a motion that we approve the contract as submitted.
Make a motion we approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thank you, Todd.
Yes, sir.
You're back up again.
Yes, sir.
2021 CTE Local Application.
Yes, sir. A local application is required by the state of North Carolina to be submitted by each CTE program in the LEA. This plan ensures that we're going to do everything we can to offer a CTE program that is fair and equitable to everybody. The plan must be submitted to have the federal and state funds released for a CTE program. This is new for me and for CTE. This is now a 2-year plan. Used to be every year we had to do this plan. This is a 2-year plan. So the wording, everything is exactly the same. We just need another signature
Okay.
approving it. There'll be a whole new plan for next year.
Next year, I'm sure.
Yes, sir.
Anyone have any questions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
A motion we approve the application as Tom will be submitting. Do I hear a second?
Second?
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, so I'm saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thank you, Todd. And you're back up again. Cowee Heritage Festival.
Yes, sir. Bob Cuppers has, he's kind of the pointy end of the stick on this and has asked to use our activity buses for shuttling people out to Cowee School. I think they use the high school's parking maybe, I'm not sure. But they use our activity buses to shuttle people out to Cowee School for their Heritage Festival. And he will use and only uses drivers that are approved by us or by the board.
I think I'm on one shuttling. Don't they run the shuttle from the church out there or something?
Maybe from Cowee Baptist, I'm
Yeah,
not
he
sure.
doesn't have. All right, like I said, we've done this before. It's a good project. I mean, it's a good event for the community. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
A motion that we approve the request for 2 buses to be used in connection with the Heritage Festival. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, someone saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. And then we had the change where we need to also discuss the Earth Environmental Services contract.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gibbs.
Since we have our own local water supply and water treatment at both Nantahala School and Iowa Valley Elementary, the state requires a certified operator of responsibility. For our guys to do that, it would be very cost prohibitive to send them out to get all the requirements, certifications. It is more cost effective for the school system to hire Earth Environmental Services to be the certified operator of responsibility on file with the state of North Carolina. They monitor discharge water, they monitor the water that we're taking in through the well, so that it's safe for people to consume in those 2 schools. And the water that's discharged is also tested by Earth Environmental to make sure it meets the state requirements for discharge water. And we've been in contract with them for, I'm guessing 10, 15 years, if not longer, but
At least 12.
Anyone have any questions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
A motion to approve the contracts that have passed. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any other discussion at all? Hearing none, all in favor, someone saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
Business and finance, fund redistributions. I think we did have one, East Franklin. There's going to be redistribution of that. So, Angie, if you would, let's just go ahead and do all 3 of those. We can approve them in bulk.
Okay, East Franklin is, basically 2 of them are just taking their pitcher money, their Coke machine money, recycling money, and putting it into their general fund. Do have one for Franklin High School where it is a little bit different. It's they come up short a little bit on the student leadership account, and it's a thing that they do at the end of the year with the battle of the classes, and they were about $100.95 short. So Coach Brooks wanted to take that out of her volleyball fundraising account and cover that shortage.
Okay.
So that's what that one is.
And did we cover Highlands?
It's the same, it's just moving stuff
So
from
for one or
their
the other? Okay.
code
He's right.
machine and picture money and stuff to the general account. Sorry.
Okay. You probably said that and I missed it, I'm sorry. We have 3 requests, any other discussion? Questions, hearing none, all in favor of approving? Let me have a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve fundraisers.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. In case y'all wonder what the problem is, I'm actually sitting here, my grandson is playing in an all-star game right now. So I apologize if my attention appears that should be concentrating, but that's not how it works. So just bear with me. That's kind of what's going on. Final budget amendments. Angie.
Okay, the first one we'll do is state, and we have additional revenue of $46,751.59. The reason for that is PRC 007, which is our instructional support, is a position allotment, and as long as we use our positions, it doesn't cost us any extra additional money, but I do have to budget, and we went over a little bit, so that's just to cover those positions. PRC 56, which is transportation, was an additional $10,118. And PRC 009 that's the one that I'd like to point out to you on there. There's a total, we're adding a total of $22,133.59 to finish out the year. But that makes our total for this year in PRC 009 $340,338.30. Last year, it was $198,257. That's an increase of about a little over 71%, and that is the account that we pay the retirees out of for their annual leave payouts and longevity. So that's a significant increase from last year, the number of resignations and retirements that we've had. The next one is current expense. The same thing holds true for that. PRC 009 is increased. It increased about 43% from last year. Last year at this time it was $63,700, and this year it ended up at $91,149. The rest of them are, federal is, we're just shoring up things for the end of the year to account for and move from line item to line item where we've actually made expenses. Capital outlay is an increase of $12,019,000, and that is just to book the entries that the county does on our behalf, which the 3 items on there are the closing cost for the tank removal at the bus garage. There was almost $19,000 that came in after the fact that I wasn't aware of, that the county actually pays for that on our behalf. The other 2 items are Macon Middle School. One is the major renovation project over there, and then the other one is the locker room project. So there's been some architect fees paid and drafting stuff taken care of. And the last one is child nutrition, and that's just shoring up everything for the end of the year to close out the year for those.
Okay. Anyone have any questions based on what Angie just described or went over with us? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
A motion to accept the final budget amendments as Angie presented. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. And our continuing budget resolution, Angie.
This is just our resolution so that we can begin the 21-22 school year until the state adopts a budget and we actually have one and we can get one approved.
And that's not on the horizon.
That's what I understand. Didn't the Senate just now give their first initial?
Yeah, it's going to be August or September.
I entertain a motion concerning the budget resolution.
Make a motion, we approve the budget resolution as presented.
A motion to accept and approve the resolution presented. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Dr. Baldwin, our community partnerships.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, in your packet is 2 surveys that one of our community partners reached out to me and asked if they could, if the school system would forward that survey to our parents and our staff. I felt like it would be better served if these two surveys actually came from the school system, and then we could share this information with the community partners who were interested. And basically, it revolves around drug and alcohol use and use within our students, and how to best address these issues from both the school standpoint and from a community partner standpoint. So with the board's permission, we will conduct these surveys once school begins in August.
What's the age group that this is going to? Is it going to all students?
Like 16 or 12.
Yes.
Okay.
And if we can adjust that at the board's pleasure.
Honestly, the sixth graders are probably doing something else.
You're having my mind.
You know, if you'll recall the youth behavior risk survey that we utilized several years ago, we did learn quite a bit of information from that age group, and actually the fifth grade as well.
Any other questions of Dr. Baldwin? So imagine that we need to approve this as far as the distribution to, as you're proposing, sometime in August. So I would entertain a motion.
I have one more question.
Sure, go ahead.
What about the findings? What's going to be done with the research findings? Who gets to see that, and what's the plan for that?
This information will be shared with community partners, and it would be basically utilized to better address any issues that are pointed out from the surveys, particularly with drug and alcohol abuse.
But like the school healthy behaviors surveys that have been done in the past, it'd be completely depersonalized.
Absolutely.
It'd be, numbers, not.
Yeah, this will not be, individual student information will not be released.
Any other questions? Go back to the original. So I would entertain a motion that we approve Dr. Baldwin's recommendation that we distribute these in sometime in August. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
On our return to school. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
A motion second, third. All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Ms. Love, our Esser funding survey.
Yes, thank you. We are seeking public comment on the proposals from the business collaborative, or the community collaborative group that formed this past spring, looking at how Esser funding would be spent. And so as of June 23rd, we have a public comment form on the website. There's also another link there with additional information that we learned from the surveys that we distributed for students and parents and teachers. And so the public can see some of that survey data that we based our recommendations on. That public comment period is going to be open through July 23rd. And the link, again, is on the homepage of the Macon County Schools website. We currently have 61 comments already for those results. And that, again, that'll be open through July 23rd. The Community Collaborative will then be taking that information. And we have a meeting scheduled for the end of July, and we'll be looking at all of those comments and that data to try to prioritize how those Esser fundings might be spent.
The public comment was a requirement we found out about just recently.
That's part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice to have that all up front, wouldn't it?
One of the questions that we've seen in the public comment is pertain to the virtual academy. There were some comments that some of our constituents didn't feel like we should be involved in the virtual academy. And at this point, we are offering the virtual academy for students and families who may have underlying conditions that prevent them from being vaccinated. They may be fearful of attending school this fall. So we are going to offer this. I think right now we've got about 80 students who have enrolled. Macon County is one of the few school systems that applied for a school number early on. This granted us a principal position for the school. So we'll be advertising and hiring for that position in the next few weeks. And with the board's permission, we'll be polling for that, to get that person in place as soon as possible. And there will be additional duties assigned to that position once it's hired.
Okay. Anything else, Jennifer? Okay, thank you for the work you're doing. I know you're working very hard, and we'll see what people have to say. Coming events, Dr. Baldwin.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. As you'll notice in your packet, only coming event that we're pointing out is the next regularly scheduled board meeting. That is on July 26th, here at St. Lawrence.
This time, Dr. Henning, you're up.
Chairman, the reason for the closed session is those set out in GS 143-13.11A1, prevent disclosure of privileged or confidential personnel information pursuant to GS 115C-319 through 321, and student matters pursuant to GS 115C-402 and 20 U.S.C. 1232G or FERPA. We also need to have a brief discussion about a potential real property acquisition matter under subsection A5 of that statute. And I forgot, Mr. Chairman, I need to just have a brief attorney-client discussion with you, so I'll also ask you to cite subsection A3.
Okay.
Very brief.
That motion to go into closed session. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
And do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Tim, the live streaming will be shutting that down now, right? I forgot to take the opportunity to welcome everyone that was watching tonight via our live stream. I want to thank them for taking the time and showing interest in our system. We are going to closed session, so thank you for showing, and it'll be ending now, correct? All right, the board, is it our pleasure we'll go into the...
I think we'll stay in here.
We're going to stay in here. What's the board's pleasure?
And the thing,
Look at it, send us driver's license.
You attend.
Can you do that?
I've been pulled all night.
Pardon me? I have not looked in it. No. I'll give that to Jim Breedlove. He can do that.
At this time, I would entertain a motion we come back into open session.
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Only the main thing was the personnel report, which has been reviewed. I would entertain a motion because we have a personnel report.
So moved.
A motion that we approve has it been submitted in a second. All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? At this time, is there any other information that's come before the board? Board members? No? I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion we adjourn.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So moved. Very good, guys. Thank you. 12-9.
Mr. Breedlove,
Yes.
do you want to do the pleasure of